large fire in San Francisco. Hello all. Oh, what a day. Fire, and now a sudden storm just came in. It's an El Nino storm here. It's entering into San Francisco Bay Area. Let me go show you. It's amazing. We've had about 5 lightning strikes, almost no rain, no wind yet, but it's just right off the coast. Let me show you. Okay, but that's not at all what I'm going to talk to you about today. Today it's time to put out a second red alert. And the reason is because the TPP is beginning to pass. France, yes, France, or France, has passed the TPP. Unbelievable. Let's go into what the new TPP information is telling us. So the first thing has to be the jobs. U.S. jobs are going to go to other countries easier. It's going to be easier for companies and corporations now to offshore jobs from the U.S. to other TPP countries. Awful. So wages are expected to lower. And the hope for the TPP is that all wages will sort of flatten out somewhere and will all be the same wage. But you know that that's a lot lower than what we're making now here in the U.S. To me, one of the most important things is the interference with drugs that people get prescribed by their doctor. Let's go over to Let's go over to the board, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, let's say if this drug here, drug A, has been around for, let's say, 15 years. Well, under this new TPP, that drug can have just the slightest change to it done. Maybe the outside coating has changed or something, which means that they have to rewrite the instructions on using the drug. That makes it able to go to a high cost. There goes a flash of lightning. The rain is now starting. So this drug can cost as high as they want it for 20 years. Now after 20 years, they can take the same drug, change it again just slightly, and they can add another 20 years onto it. So that the high cost of this drug a month, so this one costs $1,500 a month to take under these new laws, but before these new laws it was $5, right? Kind of thing. So TPP, and that's on existing drugs. Now new drugs are under the same rule. So you have the new drug, it has I believe it was a 15-year patent. Then they can improve the drug somewhat or change it, and they get another 20 years of lifespan on the high cost of drugs. So this one can cost $1,500 for an additional, and then after that they can go 20 years more and 20 years more with this also. So in other words, they've finagled a way to make drugs extremely expensive and profitable forever, for virtually ever. Those cheap drugs will no longer be around because of TPP. So you're going to see a lot of people suffering because they just can't get even basic drugs anymore, let alone the high-cost ones, or what we're now calling high-cost drugs. The whole TPP is an emergency situation, but this isn't even close to being the worst. The worst is that they will patent surgical procedures per doctor. So only one doctor can get a patent to do only that type of surgery. Can you imagine what this is going to do? We don't usually have thunder and lightning storms here, so it's an El Nino event, but it's sure going to bring in a lot of rain. So not only are we going to lose our drugs, but you're going to have to travel to go get just basic surgery done, because only one hospital group has the patent on doing that surgery. Absolutely red alert, pass it on, emergency situation in the medical industry because of TPP. Doctors Without Borders are putting out their red alerts. This is as important as the XL pipeline cancellation or getting oil out of the Arctic. This is really, really important. Why? We have less than 90 days before the U.S. is going to approve this. That's why it's so important. Within 90 days, this thing could be passed worldwide. But that's not the worst of it. The worst of it is your food. The way it's set up, so Vietnam and Malaysia are two countries that are in the TPP. Now, the U.S. wanted this provision put in so that they could force GMOs on everybody in the TPP. And what it is, it's a rule saying that you can no longer disclose where the food comes from. It's not required, whether it's GMO or not, or even whether it's organic or not. So labeling will be discontinued on food just as long as the Food and Drug Administration says it's safe. But here's another thing. Let's go over to the board. Okay, let's say that Vietnam wants their shrimp, which are banned from being in the U.S. at present rules because of unsafety, because of the way that the shrimp there are brought up. They're brought up in big tanks. Shrimp are here, and they're fed by the sewage. That's right, the human sewage that comes into these tanks and then flows out. Part of the treatment is these shrimp that they sell for eating. Vietnam could sue the U.S. for our regulations banning them from selling shrimp here. Then they could sell the shrimp here, and because of the no labeling law, we would have no idea whether you're eating shrimp that was sewage fed or not. That's human sewage fed. Vietnamese human sewage. Do you really want that? That's what I'm saying. Red alert. You better start reading what the TPP really is. It's an absolute giveaway to the corporates, all the corporations. And they throw in a few niblets here and there. But for any reason let's say that Corporation B decides to move from Malaysia over to New York City and set up a factory. And then they say that their regulations are stopping them from making a profit. They can sue and get rid of that regulation and say put scrubbers on a smokestack. They can sue because that costs too much and takes away from commerce. Then they can take off their scrubbers, and the people around them can't do anything about it. It's TPP. Red alert. Pass it on. I don't know what else to say, people. Okay, one other thing. Here in the U.S., we have laws that stop us from exporting oil and gas because it makes sense that you would sell that oil and gas to our own country at a lower price than to sort of like a perk for being here. Oh, it is getting so dark and hard rain right now that we so badly need. They can come in, any other country can come in and say that we have to export our gas and oil. So we can lose that too. We could lose our safety net for gas and oil. This TPP couldn't be a worse piece of legislation ever devised. And we have less than 90 days to somehow protest the thing. In 90 days, you can't really do it with your money. I have to say it's got to be people passing around what TPP is. Pass it around where the phone users may find it and see it. Because most people here in San Francisco are buried in their phone 24/7. That's all they do is that phone. So that's about the only way we're going to get mushy to see what's happening with TPP. So I appreciate all the ups and downs on the last video, the comments on, and I appreciate all the comments. And on this rainy, stormy, lightning morning here in San Francisco, USA. Oh, I almost forgot. The fire was a tire shop. and it burned 2 apartment buildings on each side of it. So it was quite a fire. Until next time.